Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the final seminar presentation for the course seminar on English language teaching. My name is Yosam Hadiah Khania Putri, and I will be your moderator for today's session, proudly representing Big Group 4, which consists of groups 13 to 16. And this seminar is conducted under the guidance of our respected lecturer, Professor Dr. Shafrizal MPD, and is designed to reflect the format of an actual academic seminar, professional, interactive, and meaningful. Today, we will have 4 presenters delivering their research. Each presenter will be given 10 to 15 minutes, and we kindly ask everyone to remain focused throughout. Please remember to keep your camera on and be respectful during the entire session. There will be no questions during the presentations, but a Q&A session will be held after all 4 presenters have finished. Also, please be informed that this session is being recorded and will later be uploaded to Professor Shafrizal YouTube channel. So now, let's begin the first presentation. So, I would like to invite our first presenter, Nanda from Group 13, with her research entitled Investigating the Role of Storytelling in Developing English Speaking Skills, a case study of 2022 English Department students. Nanda, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you so much for the moderator to allowing me to speak. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Professor Dr. Safrizal as MPD as the lecturer of this seminar on English language teaching course, and to all the participants who kindly participate this seminar. I truly appreciate your um, presence and support. So I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Nanda Lucia Safitri. I'm from group 13. And in compiling this research paper, I am with my partner Deli Kusuma Triunati. So today, I would like to present my group's research paper entitled Investigating the Role of Storytelling in Developing English Speaking Skills, a case study of 2022 English department students. Next slide, please. I will start from the background of the study. Speaking is considered the most important but also the most difficult skill for EFL learners. Many students struggle with fluency, pronunciation, and confidence because traditional teaching methods focus more on grammar and writing rather than real communication. And these challenges often make students afraid to speak, especially in front of others. Storytelling is proposed as an effective and enjoyable method to develop speaking skills. It allows students to use language in a natural, expressive, and engaging way. Storytelling helps improve fluency, vocabulary, pronunciation, and confidence. Previous research has shown that storytelling can enhance speaking performance and reduce anxiety among learners. So, based on these considerations, the researchers developed a study with the title Investigating the Role of Storytelling in Developing English Speaking Skills, a case study of 2022 English department students. Next slide. So, according to the background research, we also develop our problem statement. The first one is how do students perceive the use of storytelling in developing speaking skills? What aspects of speaking are most improved through storytelling? And how does storytelling affect motivation and confidence? And then the objectives of the study is to explore students' views on storytelling in speaking development, to identify which speaking components are most affected, and to examine the influence of storytelling on confidence and motivation. Next slide, please. The significance of the study. For students, it can build confidence, fluency, and vocabulary in language learning, and for teachers, it can practical strategy to enhance speaking classes, and then for the future researchers, preference for future research using creative methods like storytelling. The next slide is about the literature review. Okay, the first one is the speaking skills. Speaking is a productive language skill that involves expressing thoughts, feelings, and information orally. It includes fluency, accuracy, and interactional competence. Goh and Burns 2012 described speaking as a complex cognitive and social process. The key components of speaking are pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, fluency, and accuracy. And then speaking can be categorized into instructive or to inform, persuasive or to influence, and recreative or to entertain. And the next one is storytelling. Storytelling is a verbal activity that uses expressive language and gestures to convey a story. According to Fikriyah 2016, it is more than just narrating. It helps students to build confidence, develop fluency, and enhance interaction. Storytelling improves language skills by exposing students to narrative structures, vocabulary, and natural patterns in language, and it supports all four language skills such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing while making learning more enjoyable and meaningful. Next slide, please. So in this research paper, we used three main theory. The first one is communicative language teaching or CLT. According to Richard and Rogers 2001, CLT emphasizes real-life communication and encourages fluency over accuracy. It promotes student-centered learning and focuses on meaningful language use. The next theory is sociocultural theory by Lev Vygotsky, 1978. So, according to Vygotsky, language learning is a social process. Learners develop better through interaction, especially within their zone of proximal development or ZPD, and the help of scaffolding from teachers or peers help them progress. And the last theory is Krashen's hypothesis. The first hypothesis is input hypothesis. Input hypothesis states that learners will acquire a second language in a natural way if they get comprehensible linguistic input that is slightly higher than their current level of ability. And this is often denoted as I plus 1, where the I is the current level of ability and the plus 1 is a slightly more complex yet still comprehensible level of input. And the next hypothesis is affective filter hypothesis. This theory highlights the importance of affective or emotional factors in language learning. Low motivation, high anxiety, and low self-confidence can hinder the language acquisition process because they form a kind of affective filter that prevents the incoming input from actually being processed by the brain. Next slide, please. So the next one is about the methodology. This research used a descriptive qualitative research design to investigate the storytelling techniques in improving English language among English department students 2022. And for the population of the study consisted of English department students from 2022 cohort, and the samples selected 15 English department students as the research sample. For the data collection method, this study utilized two primary data collection that there are questionnaires and semi-structured interviews. And then for the data analysis, this study used thematic analysis was employed as the primary qualitative data analysis method. Next slide, please. Okay, and now we jump to the result or findings. So the first finding is about the students' perception of storytelling. So out of 15 respondents from the questionnaire, most of them agreed that storytelling supported their development in English speaking. They describe storytelling as fun, motivating, and less stressful compared to other classroom speaking tasks. The participants shared their thought about their feeling when doing storytelling. They state that it's easier to speak when we use stories because it doesn't feel like a task. I feel more relaxed. And another participants say that storytelling is more creative and personal. Other tasks like reading dialogues are more structured and boring. I feel more relaxed when telling stories. So interview results confirm this positive outlook. And this is consistent with the principles of CLT, which emphasize the importance of learners producing language for real communicative purposes. CLT values fluency and meaning over grammatical precision, particularly in the early stages of language development. And the next slide, please. The next finding is about the effectiveness of storytelling in improving speaking skills. So, from the questionnaire data, most of students identified fluency as the most improved skill, followed by vocabulary and pronunciation. Students state that through storytelling, they could practice organizing their thoughts in coherent sequences and speaking continuously without hesitation. And the participants said that fluency and vocabulary are that skill that improve because they have to practice a lot before performing. And other participant also state that I think my fluency has improved. I can now speak longer without stopping too much because I practiced the story several times. So this is in line with the Wright 1995, who emphasizes that storytelling is not only language learning activity, but also a form of creative expression that naturally stimulates students' imagination and emotional engagement. The finding shows that storytelling plays an important role in improving students' English language skills, especially in terms of fluency, vocabulary acquisition, pronunciation, and confidence. So these findings also align with the communicative approach where fluency is prioritized over accuracy. And this also uh, suggests that storytelling provides repetitive and contextualized language input which support questions input hypothesis. Next one, please. The next findings is about the influence of storytelling on students' motivation on and confidence in speaking English. So the findings from the semi-structured interviews shows that storytelling significantly influences students' motivation and confidence in speaking English. The participants said that it helps them a lot. When they tell a story, they feel more relaxed and less afraid of making mistakes. Another participants also state that I was always nervous, but after doing storytelling a few times, I feel more comfortable speaking in front of my classmates. So, um, according to Krashen's affective filter hypothesis, emotional factors such as anxiety, low motivation, and lack of self confidence act as filters that can block language input from being effectively processed by learners. And the participants in the study confirmed that storytelling helped lower these filters, enabling them to participate more actively and speak more freely. And then the participant illustrates that storytelling not only reduces speaking anxiety but also promotes a sense of achievement and ownership of their language use. This increased motivation and confidence contribute to greater willingness to take risk in communication and sustain engagement in learning. Next slide, please. So the next one is about the implications for teaching. It can encourage student-centered and creative learning, integrate storytelling in curriculum and assessments, reduce anxiety through engaging and safe activities, and then enhance vocabulary and pronunciation through contextual learning. Next slide. Okay, we are in the conclusions slide right now. So, storytelling is a powerful and enjoyable way to help students improve their English speaking skills. It makes learning more fun, reduces anxiety, and encourages students to speak more confidently. Through storytelling, students can practice fluency, pronunciation, and vocabulary in a natural and meaningful context. The results of the study show that most students felt more motivated and less afraid to speak after participating in storytelling activities. They also become more active and creative in using English. Therefore, storytelling should be used more often in English speaking classes as it helps students become better, more confident and more motivated speakers. Next slide. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Bentar. Nan udah di ini mulai. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Nanda, for your great presentation. Now let's move on to our second presenter, Nashwa Indal Study from Group 14. So she will be presenting a study titled Students' Perceptions of Traditional and Modern Methods in English Learning. For Nashwa, please begin your presentation.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good
Waalaikumsalam.
morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our lecturer, Mr. Safrijal, and also to the moderator, Filsa Mahdia, for this opportunity to present my research today. My name is Nashwa Inalasari, and I'm from Group 14 with my partner Ati Nurwidi Astuti. Here I will be the presenter, and today I'm going to present our research today. The entitle of our research today is Student Perception of Traditional and Modern Method in English Learning. The next. Slide, please. Okay, for the background, English learning has evolved significantly in response to technological, cognitive, and societal changes, shifting from traditional teacher-centered methods like grammar drills to modern interactive approaches such as communicative language teaching, mobile-assisted language learning, and task-based learning. While these innovations aim to enhance learner engagement and autonomy, students often navigate a variety of instructional styles, each with its own challenges and benefits. Although much research has focused in the effectiveness of the method from the teacher or institutional perspective, there is a limited research that captures students' own perception, experiences, and preference in relation to these differing approaches. Therefore, our study seeks to explore and compare how students perceive traditional and modern methods of English learning, including the challenges they encounter and their preferred learning style in order to inform more student-centered and effective pedagogical practice. Next slide, please. So our research is guided by two research questions. The first is, what are student perception and experiences of learning English through traditional and modern method? And the second is, what challenges and preferences do students express regarding traditional and modern English learning approaches? The next is about the literature review. Modern English learning method focus on technology communication and student-centered learning using tools like mobile apps, online platform, and AI to enhance engagement and autonomy, according to Godwin Jones 2020 and 21. This method contrasts with traditional approaches where teacher lead instruction through lecture and drill, and students take a passive role with a strong focus on accuracy, according to the Brown 2001. This shift toward modern methods support digital literacy and real-world application, making language learning more interactive and flexible across various platforms. The next is about the methodology. The research design of this study is use a qualitative design to explore student perception of traditional and modern English teaching method. And for the participant were 6 university students who had experienced both traditional and modern method. They were selected through purposive sampling to ensure variation in gender and academic performance. Next slide, please. And for the data collection is open-ended questionnaire. The question focuses on student experiences, challenges, and learning preference of both methods. For analyze the data, we using a thematic analysis. This involves coding responses and identifying key themes that reflect student views. Next slide, please. So there is the finding or the result of our research. The first is learning English experience, traditional versus modern method. For the traditional method of learning English was generally perceived as monotone with a strong focus on theoretical understanding, memorization of grammar rules and vocabulary, and minimal speaking practice. However, some participants consider this method effective for building a strong foundation understanding of the language. And for the modern method of learning English, students perceive as enjoyable, flexible, and more interactive and confidence boosting. Many participants felt they progressed more quickly due to the use of learning application, videos, and online interaction. The next, for the second result, next slide please. Learner perception of effective English learning method. The majority of participants prefer modern method for learning English, citing their flexibility, engaging nature, and effectiveness in improving speaking and listening skill. These methods were also appreciated for their accessibility, allowing learners to study anytime using application or online platform. However, a few participants expressed a preference for traditional method, feeling more comfortable with structured learning guided by a mentor or tutor in a person practice. And the third is challenges in learning English through traditional and modern approaches. In traditional method, learner face challenges such as limited speaking practice, an overload of theory, rigid classroom atmosphere, and sometimes they face a unqualified teacher. On the other hand, modern approaches pose difficulty like unreliable internet connection, and then lack of motivation, limited access of technology, and then they need to pay for a certain learning application. The next is about the perception of combining traditional and modern method in English learning. All respondents agree that combining traditional and modern method is more effective. Traditional methods are seen as useful for building a strong foundation in grammar and writing, while modern approaches support a real-life practice such as speaking, listening, and increasing motivation. To the conclusion, the majority of participants prefer and benefit more from modern methods as they offer an interactive, flexible learning experience and promote direct English language practice. However, they also acknowledge the importance of traditional method in building a strong foundation in language structure. Therefore, a combination of both methods is considered the most ideal for achieving optimal learning outcomes. The next slide, please. So this is the conclusion of our research. This study highlights the evolving perception of students toward English learning methods. While traditional approaches provide a solid foundation in grammar and writing, they are often viewed as rigid and less engaging. In contrast, modern methods characterized by the use of technology, interactivity, and learner-centered strategy are seen as more effective in enhancing speaking, listening, and overall engagement. However, both approaches present distinct challenges, from lack of practice opportunities in traditional classroom to technological and motivational barrier in modern contexts. Despite this limitation, students unanimously believe that a blended approach combining the structure of traditional method with the innovation and flexibility of modern tools offer the most comprehensive and effective path to mastering English. This insight underscore the importance of adaptive and integrated teaching strategies in contemporary language education. I think that's all for presenting our research today. I will return to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Nashwa, for your informative presentation. So, we will now continue with Naufal, from Group 15 who will share his research on an EFL teacher's perception towards the use of dominant Indonesian language in the EYL classroom. So for Naufal, the screen is yours.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, moderator, for giving me a chance to present our paper right now, and also to Professor Safrizal as our lecturer. The title of our research paper is NEFL Teachers' Perception Towards the Use of Dominant Indonesian Language in the EYL Classroom. Next slide, please. But before I start the presentation, allow us to introduce ourselves first. My name is Naufal Zaki Aflah, and then there is my partner Adnan Abimanyu. In this occasion, I'm as the representative of Group 15 will present about our paper. Next slide, please. So for the introduction, this research explores how and why Indonesian is used more frequently than English in English classrooms for young learners in Indonesia. It investigates an English teacher's perception of this practice and the contextual reason behind her teaching choices. The study was conducted in a public elementary school through classroom observations and interviews. The goal is to understand the impact of using Indonesian dominantly in FL classrooms and how it influences both teaching effectiveness and students' English development. This topic is important because there is still limited research on how teachers in Indonesia manage to balance between English and Indonesian in real classroom settings. By understanding the teacher's perspective, the study aims to provide useful insights for improving English teaching strategies for young learners. Next slide, please. In this research, we have two research questions that we will answer on this session. The first one is what factors influence teachers' decision to use Indonesian predominantly? And then the second is what are the perceptions of AFL teacher regarding the use of Indonesian in EYL classroom? Next slide, please. For the theoretical framework, the theoretical framework in this paper includes several important concepts such as second language acquisition theories, sense languaging, teacher beliefs, and language policy. These theories are related to the findings of the study in explaining why the teacher used Indonesian dominantly in EYL classroom. For example, Frost and effect. Input hypothesis explains that language learners need compensable input as far as second language. In study, the teacher used Indonesian to make the input more understandable for students as well English proficiency. This shows how the teacher practice aligns with the FLA theory. And then also the concept of translating is reflected in the teacher's strategy of teaching between Indonesian and English to help students understand and stay engaged. The funding shows that the translating approach was used not just for comprehension but also for managing the cost and building interaction with students. Furthermore, teachers' decisions were influenced by her pedagogical beliefs and institutional context, which is in line with the theory that teachers' perceptions and school places strongly impact classroom language. So overall, the theoretical framework helped explain the reasons behind the teachers' choices and provided conditions for analyzing how these practices affect students' learning. Next slide, please. And then we move to the research method. When the research design, the study employed a qualitative approach with a descriptive and case study design, aiming to deeply understand the perceptions and teaching practices of the of teachers who use Indonesian dominantly in YL classroom. Rather than focusing on numerical data, research emphasizes natural actions, personal experiences, and the reasoning behind the teacher's language course and real classroom settings. The study was conducted in a public elementary school in Serang, Banten, Indonesia. The participants included one English teacher and 56 other students. The teacher was chosen based on the three criteria, such as the teaching practices affect those of any other YL teachers. And then he was also in a unique situation where students have following English proficiency, and then the last is the student of those. Next slide, please. And then for the data collection technique, we use two primary techniques in here. The first one is semi-structured classroom observation by utilizing video recording and field notes to document how the teacher used language during teaching process. And then the second is semi-structured teacher interview with open-ended questions conducted after the observation to explore teachers' listening, beliefs, and strategies regarding the dominant use of Indonesian. And then the qualitative data analysis for the observation data, the steps including transcription, data familiarization, thematic coding, and categorization, and also interpretation. And on the other hand, for the interview data, the process following similar stages, which is transcribing the audio, familiarizing with the content, putting into relevant themes, comparing findings and question questions, and making final interpretation for this discussion. Next slide, please. And then we jump to the result in discussion. The first main major discussion is about the factors influencing the dominant use of Indonesian. The first one is about the low English proficiency of the students. One of the strongest reasons why the teacher used Indonesian more often in English class was because of the students' very limited English proficiency. Most of the sixth grade students had never learned English before, so they lacked even the most basic vocabulary and speaking skills. During the classroom observation, it was clear that students had difficulty following instruction or understanding the material if it was delivered in full English. The teacher stated that he used English around 80% of the time, while English was only used about 20%, mostly for simple expression or vocabulary. This wasn't an ideal condition, but it was necessary to help students understand the lesson better and prevent confusion or frustration. The lack of English skills among students made Indonesian the most practical tool to support the comprehension. And then the second is about the students' background and environment. The students' background environment, both at home and in school, the teacher explained that many of her students were only exposed to English recently because of a curriculum change. Previously, the school used the 2016 curriculum, which didn't include English in the early grades. Now, this is moved to Curriculum Merdeka or Merdeka curriculum. English starts in a grade 4 that the fifth grader students need that early exposure. In addition, students from environments didn't support English learning. They rarely heard or used English outside the classroom. Families or societies around them typically didn't use English, and some students had never heard English spoken naturally before. This lack of exposure made English feel like a completely foreign language. So using Indonesian in the classroom helps bridge the gap and make lesson more relatable for students. And then number three is the rules and regulations. The third factor was the absence of specific rules for language use classes from the school. In the public elementary school, there were no formal guidelines that required teachers to use English for a certain percentage of class time. Because of this, the teacher had fully autonomy to decide when and how much English or English can be used. And then number four is the effectiveness of learning process. The final factor was the need to maintain an effective and smooth learning process. The teacher used Indonesian not just out of convenience, but as a strategy to ensure the lesson were clear, engaging, and productive. The function of Indonesian using in here is to extend difficult grammar points like contrast and adjective, and then to give instructions like "Catat dulu" or "pahamin baik-baik" the others, and then to respond to students' questions quickly and clearly, and then to manage questions and keep the student discipline. And also to give praise and encouragement such as "Pinter," "Benar," "Betul," and the others. Next slide, please. And then the second major step is the teacher perception towards the use of Indonesian communication. So in general, the teacher believes that dominant use of Indonesian was not the most ideal teaching method for English class. They explain that while Indonesian help ensure students' understanding, it limited students to speak English as English is just like the class. We also had more English to be used to student listening and speaking skills every time. And then for the personal, the teacher told the students and a bit sad about this Indonesian specifically. At the beginning of his career, he tried teaching English and Indonesian in her teaching. However, the students struggled even with simple English. If he graduated to take over using his Indonesian as his old students understand about the material. And then the second thing about the conflict pedagogy, the conflict is that students can follow the easily, it can become instructive, and then it's really confusing for students. While the negative is that the student not exposed enough English, then speaking English in school might have worked slowly, and then it could make it harder for them to get into higher education. And then for the section of speaking language is the question. Teacher also observe how students react to the use of information when to ask them. Speaking language teachers are using it, not as students that they So the comfortable when explaining in English. That's why he use determinant. And then the last is the perception of two different types of English classes, and then the last is learning management strategies. I think we can move to the conclusion. Next slide, please. So, in conclusion, this study reveals that the dominant use of Indonesian in while classroom is influenced by several key factors, including students' of English proficiency, their learning environment, absence of clear policies, and the teacher's effort to ensure effective learning. While the use of Indonesian helps students understand the lesson and engage, it also limits their exposure to English, which is essential for developing language skills. The teacher's perception shows a strong awareness of this trade-off and a desire to gradually move towards a more English-rich classroom environment. Hopefully, the insights from this study can inspire better teaching strategies, wise decision, and future research that support a balanced and effective learning experiences for young students. I think that's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Thank you so much, Naufal, for your great presentation. Okay. Okay, for the next one, it's the last but not least. It's Aremanda Sudajat, who will be presenting his study with the title Exploring Students' Perception of E-Learning Platforms in English Language Learning, a Qualitative Study at Untirta. For Arya, please begin.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. All praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and honor mention our lecturer, Mr. Professor Dr. Safrizal MPD, and the moderator Filsa Mahdia, and all of the participants. My name is Aremendra Sudrajat. I'm from Group 16 with my partner Filsa Mahdia Kania Putri. In this opportunity, it's a great honor for us to present the findings of our research and detail exploring students' perception of e-learning platforms in English language learning, a qualitative study at Untirta. In the digital age, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, the role of e-learning platform has become increasingly significant in shaping the way we learn languages. However, while this platform offer flexibility and access to a wealth of resources, they also bring challenges such as reduced interaction, lack of speaking practice, and lower engagement level that may affect the learning outcomes, particularly in English language education. Through this study, we sought to explore how English education students at Untirta truly perceive these platforms, not only in terms of their advantages, but also the limitation of their experience. We believe this research is crucial because understanding students' real experiences can help educators, curriculum designer, and institution improve digital learning strategies to make them more effective, engaging, and supportive of student language development. Okay, let's now begin by looking at the background of this of our study. So, the rapid development of information and communication technology, or ICT, has transformed the way education is delivered worldwide, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. At Untirta, platforms such as Google Classroom, Zoom, and WhatsApp become essential tools for teaching and learning English. While this platform offer flexibility and accessibility, they also present challenges such as limited interaction, reduced motivation, and digital literacy issues among students and lecturers. These studies focuses on understanding how students perceive the use of these e-learning platforms in their English learning process. Next, please. Okay, for the research question, there are four aspects. This study was guided by four main research equation. First, how do students perceive the use of e-learning platforms? Second, what benefits and challenges do they experience? Third, how do these platforms affect their motivation, engagement, and English proficiency? And the last is, what suggestion do they offer to improve the effectiveness of e-learning platforms in English education? Next, please. Okay, for the research objective of our research, the objective of this research are to explore students' perception of e-learning, identify the advantages and limitations they experience, examine how e-learning platforms influence their learning motivation and language skills, and to collect their recommendation for future improvements in e-learning at Untirta. Next, please. Okay, next is the significance of the study. For the academically, this research contributes to the existing literature by providing qualitative insights into students' real experiences, which are often missing in quantitative studies. For the practically, it offers valuable input for lecturers, curriculum designers, and policymakers to develop more effective and student-friendly e-learning environments, especially for English language learning in higher education. Next, please. Sorry. Okay. Next is our theoretical framework. There are four aspects that we use for our research. From all the aspects, we learned that e-learning in higher education offers flexibility, autonomy, and access to various learning materials. For English learning specifically, it helps improve listening and reading skills, but remains limited in supporting speaking practice. Student perception are shaped by personal factors such as self-efficacy and digital skills, as well as external factors like system design and internet quality. For the previous studies also suggest that students prefer blended learning, like combining online and face-to-face teaching for a more complete learning experience. Next, please. Okay, for the methodology, this study use qualitative descriptive design with around 13 participants from the 6th semester of English Education Department and Untirta. And we collected the data through open-ended questionnaires distributed via Google Forms. And the responses were analyzed using thematic analysis to identify recurring patterns, themes, and unique insight from the student answers. Next, please. Okay, for our findings, our research findings, so there are four findings. The first one is general perception. So, in general, most students share a positive perception of e-learning platforms. They highlighted the flexibility and practicality of accessing learning materials anytime and anywhere. However, some also mentioned negative aspects such as boredom and monotonous learning experience due to the lack of real-time interaction. Next, please. Okay, no, no, no. The second result is the benefits and challenges. The main benefits reported were flexibility in scheduling, self-paced learning opportunities, and multimedia features such as videos and quizzes. On the other hand, the main challenges include unstable internet connection, lack of speaking practice, and feeling of isolation of boredom during online learning. The next finding is skill development and motivation. The most students say their listening and reading skills are improved. Thanks to the availability of videos and reading materials, writing skills also improve due to the frequent assignments. And however, speaking skills showed the least improvement because of limited speaking of opportunities in virtual classes. And regarding motivation, some students felt more motivated due to the flexibility, but most reported decreased motivation because by passive and engaging online learning session. And the last findings is engagement and communication. Most students felt less engaged in online classes compared to face-to-face learning. They missed the real-time interaction, spontaneous discussion, and classroom atmosphere. Communication with lecturers was described as adequate but impersonal. Students appreciated the availability of online communication tools, but delays in responses reduced the effectiveness of discussion. Next, please. And next is suggestion. Students suggest most students suggested adding more speaking practice activities such as virtual conversation rooms or live discussion. They also recommended gamification elements like points, challenges, or quizzes to make learning more engaging, and some proposed improvements in platform usability to make navigation easier and minimize technical difficulties during online classes. Next, please. Okay, finally, we move to the conclusion. So, in conclusion, students generally have a positive view of e-learning platforms, especially for developing listening, reading, and writing skills. However, speaking skill remain underdeveloped due to the lack of real-time interaction, and most students prefer blended learning, combining the flexibility of e-learning with the direct interaction of traditional classes. Therefore, future improvements should focus on increasing interactivity, adding speaking features, improving platform design, and providing technical training for both lecturer and students. Okay, I think that's all for our research presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Arya, for your great explanation. So now we have reached the question and answer session. So if any of you have questions for our presenters, please feel free to raise your hand or type your question in the Google Meet chat. And also please mention clearly who your question is for. Okay, Arti, please, you can ask a question.
Okay, thank you to So, my name is Hannah, and I'm from Group 14, and I have a questions for Group 15. So, what is the main reason EFL teachers use Indonesians more in EYL classes? Thank you so much.
Can I answer right now, or we move? We waiting for the other question.
You can answer now.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you, Arti, for the question. I'm gonna answer the question from you from group 14. So you're asking about the main reason why the teacher uses Indonesian in the classroom. So the main reason is because the students following this proficiency, and then their unsupportive background and environment, the absence of rules in the classroom, and then for the sake of learning effectiveness. Like what I have explained before, if the teacher uses English, then the students are barely understand the material. So those are the main reason why the teacher uses Indonesian dominantly when he teaches their students. I think I hope it answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Naufal, for your answer. And Ardi, thank you so much for your question. Okay, Adnan, please, you can ask a question.
Okay, thank you, moderator. I have question for group 16. How does the absence of real-time interaction in online learning impact student development of English speaking skills? Thanks.
Okay, group 16, you can answer now.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you, Adnan, for your question. Such a nice question. So how does the lack of real-time interaction in learning environments specifically affect student development of speaking skills in English? Okay. Uh, the lack of real-time interaction reduces the spontaneous speaking of opportunities such as impromptu discussion, immediate feedback, and natural conversational flow. And as a result, students struggle to develop fluency, pronunciation accuracy, and confidence in speaking because they cannot practice turn taking, intonation, and nonverbal communication as they would in face-to-face settings. And this limitation was frequently mentioned by by the participant in the study as a major drawback of e-learning platforms. I think that's I think that's all.
Oh, okay, thank you so much, Arya.
Okay, thank you so much, Arya, for your answer. And thank you, Adnan, for your questions. So now, Daily, please, you can ask a question.
Okay, thanks to the moderator. So I have a questions for group 14. The questions is, if the combined method is considered the most ideal, how can it be implemented effectively in schools or campuses with limited facilities?
Okay, thank you. You may. Uh,
Okay, thank you for Delhi for the question. I want to answer from Delhi question is about if the blended method is considered the most ideal, how can it be effectively implemented in school? Yeah.
okay. Arti, you have a question? Please ask the question.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I have one more question for group 13. So, how does storytelling influence students' motivation and confidence in speaking based on case study of 2022 English recording students?
Okay, thank you, Arti, for your question. Group 13, please, you can answer.
Okay, thank you for the question. I will answer the question. So, how does storytelling influence students' motivation and confidence in speaking English? So, storytelling significantly boosts students' motivation and confidence in speaking skills. Speaking English. Students found that storytelling creates a relaxed and enjoyable learning environment, reducing students' anxiety and fear of making mistakes. This aligns with Krashen's affective filter hypothesis, which explains that lower anxiety allows for better language acquisition. Students feel more comfortable speaking when they are sharing personal stories or imaginative narratives, as this allow for more expressive and spontaneous language use. The technique also promotes a sense of ownership and achievement, encouraging students to participate more actively and take risks in communication. Overall, storytelling enhances both the emotional and linguistic aspects of speaking in EFL classrooms.
Wait. Pertanyaan Deli. Mau nanya ulang Deli? Yaudah, ulangin deh. Raise hand dulu lagi aja. Okay, Deli, you may ask a question.
Okay, thanks to the moderator. So I have a question for group 14. The question is, if the combined method is considered the most ideal, how can it be implemented effectively in schools or campuses with limited facilities?
Okay, thank you, Deli, for your question. Nashwa, please, you can answer now.
Okay, thank you, Deli, for the question. Your question about how we effectively implemented the bot method in school with the limited facilities. I think to implement a blended method effectively under such condition, we can start by maximizing existing resources. For example, teacher can continue using traditional method for teaching grammar or writing in a structured way, while integrating modern elements like group discussion, role play, or student presentation using simple tools such as mobile phone without relying heavily on advanced technology. Uh, Digital material like learning video or free apps can be assigned as homework, so students can access them outside of class using their own device and internet connection at home or in public places. So a blended approaches doesn't always require high-tech equipment. What matters is balancing theoretical understanding with interactive practice adapted to the specific context of each institution. I think that's all.
Thank you for the answer. That's clear. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So now, we have reached the end of our session. Thank you to all the presenters, Nanda, Nashwa, Naval, and Arya, for their well-delivered presentations. Also, thank you to everyone who actively participated and supported today's session, including our screen recorder and other technical team members. So, on behalf of Big Group 4, I would also like to express our sincere gratitude to Professor Dr. Shafrizal MPD for guiding us throughout this course and allowing us to carry out this final seminar. That concludes as our session for today. I'm Filsa Madiakana Putri, your moderator. Please forgive any shortcomings in how I carried out this role. So thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeay, selesai.